Between the Red Sea in the east and the Atlantic Ocean in the west, the Saharan Desert is one of the driest and hottest places on Earth. But despite the Saharan Desert's harsh climate, something very strange is occurring, which is directly affecting the Atlantic hurricane season and may eventually have an impact on the weather here in Europe. This is the average yearly precipitation all across Africa. As we would expect, the Saharan Desert sees very little rain, but once you get closer to the equator, the average annual rainfall dramatically increases to thousands of millimeters. This is due to the ITCZ, or the Intertropical Convergence Zone. Northeasterly trade winds from the northern hemisphere collide with southeasterly trade winds from the southern hemisphere, creating an area of convergence. Additionally, the ITCZ is close to the equator, which is naturally hot and humid throughout the entire year. This ultimately creates perfect conditions for a nearly perpetual series of clouds, rain showers, and even thunderstorms. But here's the strange part. The black line, which extends from Mauritania to Sudan, represents the usual position of the ITF, while the red line is the current position as of this month. As you can see, it's displaced further north, even reaching southern portions of Algeria. It may not seem like much of a difference, but it's significant for a couple of reasons. Firstly, many hurricanes in the Atlantic originate from clusters of storms coming off of Africa, also known as tropical waves. But now with the displaced ITCZ, we've seen some of those tropical waves moving into much colder waters of the Atlantic, basically ending the chances of further development. At the end of the day, while this period of abnormal calm may lead some to believe that this hurricane season is over, it's important to remember that it only takes one. So even if this hurricane season does finish off much less active than we originally anticipated, we can't write it all off just yet. After all, the peak of hurricane season is still ahead of us, and this strange event in Africa won't last forever. If anything concerning pops up in the Atlantic, you can be sure I'll provide updates. Until then, there's something else that I'd like to bring out which could eventually impact us in Europe. Take a look at the latest 10-day rainfall forecast from the European weather model. You can see that corridor of very heavy rain close to the equator, which is to be expected, but look at the Saharan Desert, specifically the western half. This rainfall forecast is based on one specific model run, so I wouldn't take this at face value. But the overall guidance is in agreement that widespread rain will occur over the Sahara, perhaps years worth of rain in some locations. So now that brings me to the impact that this may have on the European continent by September. This may sound strange, but the weather models are actually picking up on an impulse of moisture coming from the Saharan Desert and pushing right on into Iberia and possibly even further. It's hard to say if this will actually happen, especially since it's over a week away, but I'm definitely watching it closely, especially since multiple weather models are supporting this. Whatever the case, I'll keep you all updated on the latest developments in the world of weather, no matter how typical or anomalous it might be. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.